Depression. Even the word is depressing. Who wants to say, I'm depressed? I know I don't want to, and I know you don't want to either. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. So let's find out what we can do so that you never say that taboo word ever again. My name is John Kirchner, and this is Motivational Mondays, where I get you excited and pumped up for the week ahead, and also help you to live a happier, more joyful, and successful life. Now, for those of you who don't know me yet, let me give you a little background story on me so you kind of, get an idea of where I'm coming from. When I was 17 years old, I was in a car accident. I broke my neck and became a quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down. Now, you would think that being in a chair, paralyzed, that would pretty much stop me from living life. That it's just like, well, I'm just going to spend the rest of my days sitting in front of a TV doing nothing. The absolute opposite. The chair has actually propelled me to do more in life than I ever would have had I not had my accident. In fact, I've told people several times that if God were to come down right now and say, John, I tell you what, I'll take you back to February 20th, 1988, and you will have never had your accident. You want to go? I would say, thank you very much for the offer, God, but I respectfully have to decline. And it's because I have lived more. I have overcome more. I have accomplished more. I've achieved more. I've inspired more. And I have definitely appreciated life so much more because I had my accident as opposed to if I hadn't. Now, if you want to get me out of the chair now, I have no problem with that. But even if he doesn't, even if I stay in a chair for the rest of my life, who cares? I'm fortunate enough to at least be here. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. So let's get back to what we can do to get away from ever using that taboo word. As you can probably imagine, I've had a lot of different peaks and valleys in my life. And I have definitely had my fair share of depression. Although there was nothing more depressing that happened in my life other than when I lost my company, or was actually forced to shut it down back in 2013. I had built a home health agency from the dining room of my house into 3 offices with 300 people working for me. Being able to provide service and care for individuals with all different kinds of disabilities, and to provide jobs to thousands of people over the 11 years that my company was in business, was probably the most incredible and rewarding things that I've ever done in my life. And I actually looked at my company kind of like a child. It started out as an idea in my head, and me starting out in the dining room of my house, it was kind of like having a child and raising it and watching it grow and get bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden, when I was forced to close it, and it was basically out of nowhere, that was absolutely devastating to me. And not only was I dealing with the devastation of that, but there were a lot of people who I thought were extremely good friends of mine. Turns out the last time I ever saw them or spoke to them was the last day that my company was open. After that, never heard from them again. Never saw them. I had fallen into a deep, deep well of depression, to the point where I would look up and the only light that I would see would be this little pinhole of light amongst an ocean of darkness. I was deep. And I knew that I couldn't stay there for long because the longer I was staying there, the harder it was going to be for me to get out. Well, thankfully, I have a really good friend who I call Brother Allen. And he knew everything that had taken place, and he knew that he had to introduce me to something new, find a new hobby for me, something that would keep my mind off of it and redirect my interest, my focus on something else. Because it has been proven that one of the greatest ways to fight depression is to redirect your thoughts, your efforts, your energy in a different direction. And finding a new hobby is a great place to start. So he introduced me to a club called Toastmasters. And if you're not familiar with Toastmasters, it's a public speaking club. It's been around since like 1924. It's in over 100 different countries around the world. And I've always loved public speaking. So this was right up my alley. And every week, there would be different things that you would have to do for the following week. Like sometimes I would have to do a prepared speech. So all week long, I'd be writing my speech, I'd be practicing and rehearsing, making sure that when I got in there next week, I would knock their socks off when I delivered that speech. And I started entering into contests and winning them. And before you knew it, I was no longer in that well. When I would look up, it wasn't a little pinhole of light. It was like I was outside staring at the sun. It was bright as could be. And it's partially due to the fact that I was outside. I didn't lock myself up in my room, close the blinds, close the shutters, turn my phone off, not call anybody back, not text anybody, just sleep all day long. And that does nothing but just make things worse. And I'm sure that a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you're probably going through a lot of the similar things right now. But it doesn't always have to be like that. Like I said, hobbies, a great thing to be able to help you get out of it. Another thing, and I know that it is going to take a bit of strength and perseverance to physically get yourself up out of bed, out of that room, and to go outside. But when you do, and you're out of that dark, dismal, dungy room, and you're outside, and you've got the sun beaming down on your face, and it feels so warm, and you open your eyes, and you see the blue sky and the white puffy clouds, and it is invigorating. It is enlightening. You feel so much more energized. And they say a good thing to do is to take your shoes and socks off, walk around in the grass, the dirt, the sand, whatever. Because what it does is it actually releases serotonin into the body, which is a neurotransmitter, and basically it's known to be associated with the feeling of well-being and happiness. And also another thing you could do is, if you have a dog or a cat, hug them. Because hugging a dog or a cat or a person releases a hormone called oxytocin, which is nicknamed the love hormone, because it helps us to be able to bond with one another. And again, it is one of those incredible feelings that we have inside that is just an automatic reaction. And it is so incredibly helpful, and it's something that we all need. The last thing that we need when we're depressed is to be alone. I remember it was just a few years ago, I developed a pressure sore on my butt, and it kept me in bed for 20 months. You heard, 20 months. Almost 2 years of my life I spent in bed with this pressure sore. Now, you would think that I would have gone nuts. Everybody thought John is going to lose his mind. He is going to get so incredibly depressed. I know I would, is what they would all say. But to the contrary, I made sure that I left those blinds open. I didn't shut my phone off. I answered phone calls. I answered text messages. I was text messaging people. If I couldn't get a friend on the phone, I would call customer service for here or there. I called Apple Tech Care one time. I spoke to the girl for 2 hours on the phone. And the extent of her technical support was her simply saying, try holding the power button down longer. That was it. Everything else was just the two of us talking. And it was one of the most therapeutic things for me. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily what's right for you, but you'll find the thing that's right for you. And when you do, you got to act upon it. There's so many things out there that can work and can help. But you've got to get to that point where you seek out that help, that you try and do some of these different things. Because I'll be honest with you, at the end of the day, depression sucks. It's not an easy fix. And I'm not sitting here trying to tell you, oh, just do this, just do that, and it just goes away. No. But you have to start somewhere. You can't just put it off and expect it to just magically go away. It's something that you have to work on, something you have to work at. But it's also something that I know each and every one of you have the ability to do. And it's because I know that each and every one of you has been born with more strength, more talent, more tools, more abilities than you ever thought possible. If you had asked me prior to me breaking my neck, what would you do if you became a quadriplegic? My answer would be, I would want to die. And if you would ask me that question now, it would be the exact opposite. I don't want to die. I want to live. And that's why I would do crazy things like skydiving and scuba diving with sharks and flying in a fighter, all these crazy things. And people would say, do you have a death wish? I'd say, no, I have a life wish. And that's what you should have as well. Have that wish, that desire to live to the absolute fullest. Live life. Don't let it pass you by. And being depressed and being stuck in that rut is a perfect way of just letting life pass you by. So, hopefully you gained something from this video and from the things that I had to say. Like I said, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be a whole lot harder if you don't try anything at all. So make sure that you do. And if you like today's video, then share it with others. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell, the like, leave a comment. I love hearing what people have to say. And if you have a certain topic that you'd like for me to touch base on, please leave it in the comments. I want to hear them. I want to read about them. I want to see what other people are doing that helps them, helps you deal with depression and different things like that. So, until next week, have a fantastic week. Live life to the absolute fullest. Make it happier, more joyful, and a much more successful life than you ever thought possible. And once again, God bless, and I love you.